Good morning and happy Sunday. It's good to be with you all again. I'm excited for this morning's conversation because I think everyone will have something to glean from this. The statement is, and you've probably heard it, read it, or studied it to some capacity, and I actually read it recently in a book I'm reading, and for whatever reason that this time that I read it, it resonated a little bit differently with me just because I'm in a different place in life. But the phrase goes, what gets measured gets managed. And I want to take it even a couple of steps further because most people, including myself, don't really have a motivation problem, nor a problem really with analyzing numbers or anything like that. We have an awareness problem, or the gap is in awareness. And so what I'd add to that statement is what gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets improved, and improvement is what changes your life. And we could look at this from several different optics. The first one that I want to talk about, just because I find it to be so personally intriguing, and if you really truly asked yourself, where did the last 7 days go? If you had to measure exactly every hour that you spent from last Sunday to today, what would that look like? I would bet all of us lack awareness of where all of our time is being spent or managed. I bet a lot of it would be spent on unfruitful things, whether it's scrolling or deliberating over something that we can't change, or several other Netflix or TV, or sitting at the dinner table, but are we really being present in the conversations? So time is one of the most important things that we could measure, because it's the currency that is equal to all men and women. Your bank account is going to look a little bit different than my bank account, but we all start the day with 24 hours, and we can't add or subtract 1 minute to that. And how we manage it and how we spend it is a really good measurement of what's important in our lives. We could also look at a personal growth standpoint. How many books have you read this year so far? How many journal entries have you done? How many times did you open your Bible this year, this month? How many days has it been since you drank alcohol? Maybe even more data analytical. How many calories did you eat yesterday? What is your body fat percentage? These things that aren't measured tend not to get managed, and then our awareness over them is non-existent. So we can also look at this from the perspective of finance. Do you measure and track every dollar that comes out of your checking account or your wallet? Do you track transactions at your local coffee shop? Or do you just kind of pretend those don't happen? Or do you let the month go by and you're not really sure what your income or your expenditures were? Or you might have a general idea, but just like being in a caloric deficit, most people drastically underestimate the calories that they consume. Financially speaking, consumers drastically underestimate and overinflate what they bring in, and they underestimate what they're spending. So, how are you measuring and managing your finances? I think that all of this really boils down to measuring all aspects of life, but here's what I want you guys to hear. Relationally speaking, I don't want you guys, nor I, to get in the weeds about the numbers, but the journey and the transformation to where we want to be. And I think this ties in nicely to one of our recent conversations about consistency beating intensity. What I would encourage you to do this week, if you're measuring a lot of these things, either in your personal growth, in your relationships, with your time, with your nutrition, with your finances, bravo, and keep up the good work. I challenge you to see what you could extrapolate that measurement out to continue to improve upon your life and the man or the woman that you want to become. And then if you're in the camp of people that haven't really done a good job of measuring in order to manage, in order to improve, in order to succeed, in order to grow, rather than attack this with intensity, let's look at this from a consistency standpoint. And for the next 7 days, I would encourage you to just pick one of those topics that we talked about and give them an honest measurement. Now, the numbers are data. Don't get into the weeds about the data. Look at the progress over time. If you pick finance, then for the next 7 days, every time you bring money in or you see money leave, track it. It could be on a note on your phone. It could be on an app on your phone. It could be through your banking institution. It could be on an old school notebook, legal pad, spreadsheet. Whatever works for you. I can't tell you the process that's going to work best for you, but I will say the process that works the best in general is going to be the process that is repeatable, coachable, and therefore, if you can teach it and you can coach it, and it's something that you can do consistently, that's going to end up being your best process. If it's from a consumption of food standpoint, start making a log on what you're eating. And your data there is going to be your weight on the scale and your body measurements. Waist circumference and body weight are going to be your best indicators as you are trying to get to whatever goal body weight that you have. But again, if you're one of those people that haven't stepped on the scale recently, well, how are you supposed to manage what you don't measure if you don't know what your baseline is? Relationally, how many times did you sit down at supper with your family the last week? How many times did you pray with your kids? How many times did you make a journal entry? How many date nights did you go on with your wife this month? Or how many times did you compliment your husband in a respectful way this month? How many times did you meditate or have mindfulness and prayer? Or how many times did you have a counseling session this quarter? These are all just items and food for thought for you. And the idea is to bring awareness to this whole picture. And through that awareness, we can measure, we can manage, we can grow into the men and the women, the moms and the dads, the husbands and the wives, the business owners, the sons, the daughters, the leaders in the community that we not only need to be, but are called to be. For me this week, I'm going to focus on time. I want to measure what my time is being spent doing. And I want to be as intentional as I possibly can for my kids, for my wife, and for my family. That's it for today. I hope that you all have a wonderful Sunday. I hope that you were able to glean something from this. And feel free to comment about what it is that you're looking to measure in order to manage, in order to improve, in order to grow. Have a wonderful day.